Hello, and welcome to What Am I Doing, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast where one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey, and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is McCaffery. How are you doing today, Lewis?
I'm doing very well, Connor. How are you?
Oh yeah, I'm having a bad time actually.
I just enjoy watching you struggle, while saying inadequate pod partner.
I either can't say ridiculously inadequate pod partner, or I have a mental breakdown because I can't breathe trying to say all of those words.
More confidence in yourself. You need to believe.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Or I need a therapy dog, an anxiety dog. You know the ones that say don't come near me.
Either for the right amount of money, I can be that.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect because today's topic is companions.
Oh.
Weren't expecting that.
No,
were you?
actually, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, there we go. We didn't mess this up, so we didn't really have to redo it. So you genuinely didn't know.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's just get into it. Let's get to it. Okay, so today's episode is on companions. Some campaigns and servers enable a player to obtain a companion. Is it a gimmick? What does it serve? Who does it serve? How can it be built upon? Lewis.
Hello.
I've got a little mouse in my pocket, but every time I stroke it, it squirms and screeches. Can I tend to it, or should I set it free?
Is that Harry?
Can I tend the rabbits, George? What am I doing?
I don't know, to be honest. If it's a little mouse, then...
Don't fuck this up.
Yeah, I'll try that.
This is my last chance. I've got to pay the bills.
Fair enough.
Don't fuck this question up.
Well, in that case, I decline to answer. I plead I plead the fifth, or whatever that is. No, if it's a mouse and it's not called Stuart, then I don't want to know anything about it. And I think
how does that little fuckhead get chosen over a child, over a human being?
I don't know. Actually.
Who picks a mouse over a human being? Who the fuck picks a mouse for a football team?
I don't know, actually. I can't remember the plot of Stuart Little.
The only time choosing a mouse ever made sense in either of those films is when they needed someone to steer their remote-controlled ship. And even... because he's the right size, right?
Yep. Yeah,
but
that's
even
true.
then it's remote-controlled.
Oh, I remember
He doesn't need to be there.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't even be a good viewer because you wouldn't be able to see that far.
No, he wouldn't.
There's nothing. He's a little fuckhead.
In today's episode, we just slag off Stuart Little.
Yeah, do you know what? I can't slag him off enough.
You know what? We need to just have a ban list of names. One being Tom Hanks, then
Trigger
Stuart
names
Little.
we can't bring up legally. Okay, what are companions in D&D?
Oh, so companions can be used for a lot of things, but generally speaking, they are just a little NPC that's often controlled by the player that can accompany you on journeys, whether that's one that speaks or doesn't, like I said, like a mouse, like that little fucker Stuart Little, or it could be a dog, or...
Say his name in vain, god damn it.
Or on the other hand, they can be controlled by the DM, which I don't know if that's favourable, personally not for me, but it's just like a little...
I wouldn't want that.
No.
It's not, I don't want the companion. You're just you're giving me more work.
Well, exactly.
You do it.
Exactly. It's just a little, I won't say gimmick, because they can provide some kind of benefit to you as a player and to the party, but they are just like a little assistant, I'll say.
Yeah, okay. How does a player get a companion?
So there are a number of ways. Obviously, you can go down the range, one of the ranger subclasses that will eventually get their own companion, but there can also be other ways, whether that's through certain magic items, like the wondrous figurines, whether you can class them as companions or not.
Like momentary.
Yeah, or I suppose, depending on the DM and the campaign, you could go into various pet shops or whatever they might be and try and find and tame your own. Could also find one in the wild. It all just depends what your DM is willing to allow.
Yeah.
Because personally, when I DM campaigns, or in our server that we ran, that we often encourage the use of companions, but more for roleplay purposes and to further someone's backstory rather than
to flesh out the world.
Yeah, rather than to just provide an extra like support in combat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's what people try to use it for mostly.
Yeah, it's like
makes sense.
Yeah, it's like even if you have a mount, like if you have a horse, you could class that as a companion, but they might not be that useful in combat. They could just be there to help you.
You've really got to make the most of them yourself.
Yeah,
you're now tied to it, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean you can do a lot with a companion. I think it just helps as well to, like you said, flesh out a certain character and their mannerisms if you're also looking after a pet or a companion.
Okay. Well, how do players make the most of companions in a campaign or a session? I don't think quite often it's unlikely you'll get one in a one shot.
Yeah.
So I guess it is really more campaign setting. I mean, I could be wrong, but
yeah, I think it depends really. Like we said, it could be something to do with your backstory. There could be some kind of progression for that companion. So I've encountered DMs that have given, and I know we've done this in that server, like dragon eggs or baby dragons as companions that can't really do much, but their progression possibilities is there, so people can train with them, work towards improving their skills. I think if you have some that can engage in combat, I mean that's great, just I think it ruins it when people use it as like a free attack, whereas if you treat your companion, no matter what their utility, as a real companion for your character, and you treat them with all the love that you would a normal pet, I think it can really help to flesh out a lot of situations, whether roleplay or in dangerous situations.
Yeah, no, I agree. Using it just for combat feels like you're just kind of like outwardly min-maxing.
Exactly. If you
not
had
using your own character.
Exactly. If you had a cat, would you take them everywhere? Like, would you take them to a nightclub, and then if the bouncer ID'd you, would you tell your cat to attack it?
No.
It's like exactly.
No. That's why people always want dragons.
Well, that's true.
You know? I'll tell you who they wouldn't pick. Stuart fucking Little.
No,
that's
they wouldn't,
who I
to be
wouldn't
fair.
pick.
No,
he'd be there.
You know what? On my next
Hennessy.
on the next campaign at DM for you, I'm going to give you a mouse companion that follows you around.
I thought you were going to say the entire campaign is Stuart Little themed. You started an orphanage.
Oh my god, that's beautiful.
You don't ever get picked because there's 14 mice in your class. Your last one to be selected.
That is beautiful.
Okay. Are there levels required to obtain companions?
Yes, if you're going for the companion that you get with the ranger subclass, then yes, you can obviously get that at level 1. Not that I'm aware of anyway. Otherwise, not necessarily, and I'd suggest if you're a DM and you're looking to give your players or one specific player a companion, I'd do it early on, because that way if you get a companion at level 1, then with the fact that you will die very easily in a lot of encounters, your companion will also do the same. So it allows you to share the fear with that companion, if that makes sense, and the risk is there for both of you. And if you keep that companion all the way to level 10 to 15, maybe even 20, then the companion will now be very useful because they've trained and leveled up with you. But also the bond that your character will have with that companion will obviously be amazing. You will genuinely be upset if that companion then dies.
All right, well, last question. When's the right time for a DM to say no to companions? I guess the obvious one to get out of the way is
like a dragon.
Just picking a fully fledged high CR dragon. Outside of that, when is it? For instance, if I just want like a baby dragon, the stats are low. You've already said, it won't grow. It just is what it is. Something that's a bit more like reskinned, lower level thing. When is there a good time to say no to that?
Well, I think as you know, me as a DM, I'm almost always open to anything that players request, as long as it's within reason, as long as it's reasonable. But I think there's nothing wrong with saying no to this, just because you don't want to throw one in for the sake of it. If someone wants a companion, next session you don't want to just be like, oh, you see one in the woods, and it's like, oh, is that mine now? Yeah, it is. It's like, one, I think you need to feel
earned.
Yeah, exactly. The player needs to feel like they've actually earned that and worked towards it. It's like if you find a wild animal, they're not just going to follow you. You need to tame them. You need to get them to trust you, that kind of thing. But also, you don't want it to feel just like a cop-out. Like, if someone requests something, you don't want to just give it for the sake of it. Either there needs to be a purpose to that companion, or I don't know, it's just, you don't, like you said, it needs to feel earned. You don't want them to just be there for the sake of it. A DM needs to know when it's okay to say no and when a companion will actually benefit a person.
I think for me, I'm very judgmental on, to me there's two type of players. There's a player there who's willing to just have fun, go for it. I feel like I'm that player. If it's pure chaos, at my cost, it's probably going to be fun. I'm never there to tactically play, and there are a lot of people are. So when someone, to me, a companion is a tool because I just don't see the need for it for me.
Yeah.
As a person, I'm not bothered. I'm not a pet person in that sense. So when someone needs that in a game, I'm instantly questioning why they want that. I don't think anyone would go, I just like cats. Why? What would the cat give to your thing? And then you usually, it's same with when people go, can I have this class? You should be questioning it as well. It's not like you're there to ruin their time. They might just want to play the thing. But there's the kind of person who's asking.
That we've encountered.
And so if they usually want a companion, like you said, it's usually for combat, let's be honest.
Yeah.
No one needs like a nightmare. No one needs like a fort, like a horse made of fire when they can have a regular horse. It's very cool. I get that. But why do you need that over a regular? There's usually a tactic involved. And so I think for me to answer the question of when's the right time for a DM to say no, what kind of person is asking you it?
Yeah.
That's when I'm saying no or yes. Otherwise, I'm usually a yes.
Yeah, I've got no issue with people using companions for like tactically if they want to use it in combat. It's just as long as they're not trying to do that just to beat the game. If they
shouldn't be picking it for combat. They should be picking the companion they want for companionship.
Yeah,
and then it happens to come across. It can be used in a situation where the companion could be of use. Fair enough. If you're picking something that is only of use, that makes
exactly.
I have a family dog. I don't have the dog for dog fighting. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not why I'm doing it.
Well, no, exactly.
He loses every time. It's a useless dog.
Is that? Oh wait, is that why you need to make money on this one?
Oh yeah, I'm out. I've lost too many dog fights.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think to be fair, companions can be really, really good for a player and for their character.
Good role play.
Exactly, like it adds that bit because obviously it's great to see people role playing between characters and making friends. But if your character has actually got a pet or a companion, then I don't know. It's something about things like that allow for very, very good and very quick character development. Because if you've got, let's say, a chaotic good character and the BBEG or even just some drunk noble in a town or city kills your companion, then you're going to go from chaotic good to pretty evil straight away.
Yeah, it can really drive a person's ambitions
It's just as long as people treat it that way, whereas if your companion dies and you're just like, all right, well, I forgive you, and it's like, I'm sorry, if someone killed my cat, I'd kill you.
But that's also another thing. I'm going to wrap this up now, but also another thing is people who want companions, but then assume that they will always live.
Yes.
You should probably not be playing D&D, in my opinion. You're also probably the person who, if you die, you'll throw the biggest hissy fit. Yeah. Which, is part of D&D. I don't know why you're playing anything without risk. Even life in real life is a risk.
Well, exactly.
Always. You don't have to think about it, but it is. So, if you're playing a game where combat is quite a large part of it, and that's being said by someone who doesn't like combat. Yeah. I get it though. That's the reality of it. So if you want a companion that is impenetrable, cannot be hurt, I don't know why you're asking for this companion.
Yeah. Or if you do get that, know that it will have no other benefits. It'll just and the reason is it'll probably be a figment of your imagination. That's why.
Yeah. Right. Well, on that note, today's adventure is sadly coming to a close. We are back again next week with a topic. If you could be any star in the galaxy, why would you pick WHLO137LS? And as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to join in on the D&D action or just support this show, then please follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WhatAmID&D. I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Lewis McCaffery.
Good day.
Goodbye.